directly to you. That's right. This is the 30th week, the 30th consecutive week of our weekly podcast here on YouTube. We said what?
I said kinda. Technically. We did miss 1 week. We recorded it, but it didn't go up.
Oh, yeah. True. I forgot about that. Freaking mishap.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have the URL now.
It's complicated and I hate it, but YouTube, what are you going to do?
Yeah, so let me just, just freaking... Why is it... Oh, my goodness.
Because this is the channel name. That's what... I had the whole plan in my head. I wanted to do youtube.com/fanatics podcast. Like, that's simple. Or even, like, F4 podcast. Simple. But no...
YouTube.com/directly to you at Fanatics4 Podcast. It's kind of long, but if you guys can remember that, just remember the channel name. And you right.
Alternatively, there's bit.ly /d2yonyt. That's the other link. It's in the description. If you know what, it's in the description.
Just go hunting. You guys can find that. But
it's also in the description if you want to help the channel out. We have Amazon affiliate links down there. You can click that general one. You can do your regular shopping, and wherever you buy helps out the channel. It's no additional cost to you. It's just taking Amazon's money and giving it to us because we can use it.
That's right. Be awesome.
Make the channel better.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate that. So yeah, moving on to, I guess we can just talk about what we've been playing as of recently.
And people have been asking about Octopath. So what's up with that? How's that game?
It's freaking fantastic, honestly. When I first played the demo a while back, I can't even remember when that was, but I thoroughly enjoyed the two characters that I played way back when, Albrecht and what's the other chick's name? Yeah, those two. And yeah, it was interesting. A little piece, but going into and actually being able to play the game, free product, being actually able to play.
Oh yeah, product provided by Nintendo. Both of these were provided by Nintendo.
Thanks, Nintendo.
Disclosure.
Yeah, so being able to actually delve into and seeing how deep this actually goes, as far as man, these stories it's just crazy. Honestly, you'll be playing as one character, and then within that realm, you'll have another character story attached onto that. You'll play like a flashback or a memory, and
so I hear people talk about that aspect of it a lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, for context, I dabbled a little bit with Octopath with the recent demo, post this game being sent to us, when I was I'm kind of curious because everybody's talking about how good this game is. So I'm going to check out the demo. I played, I don't know if I'm even done with it, but I played Primrose's chapter or whatever up to that first boss.
Yeah.
Is it like a regular RPG of you play through that character story and then you meet you meet your other party members, or are they do they really intertwine? Is it branching paths in a way, or is it this linear thing and then you reach certain points where it's all right, and now you met, I don't know any of these people's names aside from Primrose.
Yeah, these stories they do you do have like I said before, you'll have a character, and then you'll have another a person or a character that'll you'll play memories from this person, or you'll play you'll get to a point where it's okay, this person's story will end, then it goes to another person's story at the same time. But it's it really just depends, because honestly, I've had
is there any? I guess what I'm asking is there any since it seems like these are detached stories until they intersect. Is there any repeating? If I'm playing Primrose's story and then I get to the end of that, right? And then I pick, I don't know, Albrecht. I think that's the other dude that I know that I'm aware of his name. If I play him, or at least his chapter up until he meets Primrose, I guess, I don't know, question mark. Will I have to replay anything that I experienced with Primrose beforehand, or is it just does that just
no? It kind of just sums up. You don't have to. I don't think you don't have to like go over, and play that over, or,
Okay, so it does like the last time on Octopath.
Yeah. There's no like, there's no repeating of that type of, it's no overlay in that way.
Yeah. Okay, makes sense. How's the gameplay? Is it? I mean, from what I played, it seemed. I mean, that's pretty much the main reason why I don't really care. Why I didn't like just pull the trigger and buy it, because it felt like to me like the gameplay was like super simple, like in that like the typical like. In the way that I'm usually talking about with RPGs, where most RPGs, the turn-based RPGs specifically, most of the time, the gameplay is a means to an end, rather than it being the reason why you're playing it. Like, do you find yourself thinking like, oh, I want to play this game because it's fun to play, or are you more so playing it because the story's good?
It's a little bit of both. It has the like the whole boost mechanic is fun to me. I like how each character has their own like specific when they walk through the towns, whatever, they have a special like interaction. It's kind of cool. It does have an element of okay, after a while it's like and even though every character has their own special like unique abilities, that's pretty cool. And like this character Hanit, she can just like summon beasts onto the field, but essentially it plays the same as far as the battles are concerned. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of fun, It's like if you're into the toad like turn-based RPG, it's interesting. I like it, but the story still is a huge factor to me. I don't think it'd be something I could just like a standalone just play. So yeah, the story is heavy.
Okay, so basically what you're saying to me is that the gameplay is there. It's not unbearable.
Right, it's not bad. It's just like, is it a seller on its own? No.
Yeah, and I mean that's fair.
Yeah, right. That stands the case for a lot of that stands the case for a lot of RPGs, honestly.
Yeah. Because I mean, from what I've played, I wouldn't say. I mean, that makes sense. What you're saying makes sense. What I played it wasn't like bad. I wasn't like, man, this gameplay is so bad. I was just like, like it's there, but I'm more so like kind of dealing with it. I think dealing with it is a bad, because that makes
it seem like it's a chore. It's a task.
Yeah. It's just there. I don't know how to compare it to anything. It's just like, it's not something that I do to be like, man, I can't wait to experience a battle.
Mm-hmm. Right, exactly.
But it's not like when I'm battling, I'm not like, I have to do this. Outside of like like the typical like random encounters thing, because there's like this threshold of really any game with random encounters, where random encounters, the time that they take to even escape from is a waste of time. Because it's like in Pokemon, right? You'll get to a point where you're especially in like some of the earlier games, where you'll run into a lot of Pokemon that are like significantly weaker than you are. So it's like, if you battle that Pokemon, you'll gain like 75 experience. When you were level 4, 75 experience was a lot. But now that you're on level 22, 75 experience is like it's kind of like that thing of like, if Bill Gates stopped to pick up a $20 bill, he would have lost more money. Like that whole thing. Yeah. That's what it feels like. So it's like that's mostly what I'm getting at when I say like, it feels like a means to an end. Because it seems like the type of game where eventually the battles feel like a chore, outside of maybe like the boss battles.
Yeah, it can only like be interesting for so long. There's not too much variety there, where it's like you're getting it's like, oh, this is new, like these elements. Like after a while it kind of bleeds together. Like it becomes like, okay, I've done this a lot. Even though they try to add more with the like I said, with the boost and all that outside type of stuff, and every character having like a specific like ability, that's cool. But this is not too much there. It's like that keeps it refreshing like throughout your hours of playing.
Right, that makes sense. Speaking of hours of playing, I played a couple hours of WarioWare Gold. I like it. It's weird. It's like I forgot. Like WarioWare is like the kind of game where it's like I know in the back of my head that I like it, and it's like, oh, this is a fun, cool game. I enjoy it. But when I'm playing, I'm like, man, I really like this game. Why do I not like have one of these to like play actively? You know?
Right.
It doesn't. It's not really like. It's kind of like a tier above like what I thought about like the Pokemon Quest games, where it's like, man, I would play this a lot more if it was on mobile because it's like kind of a passive thing. I think I like it more than that, where it's like I think the highest honor I can give this game is there's very few games that make me want to look at my 3DS, right? Like even look at it. Pokemon. And now this. So I think that says a lot about like how good the game is. Granted, I've only been playing it for a few hours so far. I played through the story, and that was really fun. And now I'm playing through like you know, like after you beat like the, you know, like the mainline parts of WarioWare games, you start to unlock like the not mini games, but like I guess micro games is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Where it's like extrapolated mini games in a way. I'm to that part where you're just like playing through those and like beating the high scores and stuff like that. I still have a few more of those to unlock. I do like my main goal right now is to unlock the gamer mode. Which is a game that was in Game and Wario. I don't know if have you seen anything from that, like from Game and Wario?
No, huh?
Well, I know you saw like the gamer stage, right?
Yeah.
Like in Smash Bros.
Yeah.
So it's basically like you know, like with your mom, and she comes out of TV and she looks at you, and then you're basically just dead.
Right.
It's that. It's like you're playing the mini games and you have to watch out for your mom, because if your mom catches you playing the game, then you lose.
That's funny.
Or you lose a life or whatever. And I want to get to that because I always wanted to like play that mode, but I just I don't know. I never ended up buying it on Wii U. I don't know why. You know, like other games come out.
Yeah, there's just certain titles we miss. You know, and that just happens. I know a lot about that, but anyway.
Yeah, but what I missed and what you missed are two different things. Like I wasn't like, if I had missed a game, it was like more than likely that it was like something else that was holding my attention. Not that it's like I'm not interested enough in this, I'll skip that one. Like you made like conscious decisions to be like, I'm going to skip Pikmin 3. I'm going to skip.
right. True.
For me, it was like more of a thing of like, well, this game's holding my attention. I barely have time/attention to play this. So you know what? Gotta opt out on that one. So, but that being said, WarioWare is good. If you like WarioWare and you can stomach playing your 3DS, I would say pick it up. It's kind of
criminal that we're even like they 3DS, right? Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
That's nuts.
Put it on Switch. Put it on Switch, Nintendo. And provide that product. Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Speaking of products, Nintendo sold a whole lot of them last quarter.
They did.
They're doing okay. You know, they're getting by. They're paying their bills. Their lights aren't getting turned off or anything like that. I would say. So here we're just gonna run through some of these numbers, some of these bullet points. That okay with you, Logan?
That's fine. Let's do it.
All right, so I'm not gonna go through like the nitty gritty of like this is how much money they made, because like whatever, they made hundreds of millions of dollars.
They made a lot. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. All right, and saving time.
More like tangible things that like we can identify with and that have more like direct benefits to us as gamers. The Switch, and the span of the from what, March to June 30th.
Mm-hmm.
Sold 1.88 million units. That's down, I think, about 100,000 units from launch. That like the first quarter last year.
Right.
But that can be due to a lot of different factors. Not the least of which being that the Switch wasn't a brand new thing in the last 3 months. Also, it's not a whole lot of like major big budget titles in this first quarter. There are good games that are coming out, and a lot of these games are like big sellers, and like they're although they're not important to a lot of the core audience that like knew of their existence, not necessarily played them, because they probably didn't. They definitely didn't own them, you know, like for the most part. But a lot of people like to like disparage like the games like, you know, Toad's Treasure Tracker and Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze and Bayonetta 2 and 1, because they were already on Wii U. But if it's new to you, it's new at the end of the day. It's like, it's kind of like this weird like reverse FOMO sort of situation where people are like, well, that game was already out, so I basically played it because it's been out for forever, you know, which is weird. But 3DS sold, shipped. These are shipped 360,000 units in the last 3 months. So I mean, 3 months. So we're closing the curtain on that one a little bit as far as like new releases. The classic systems, the NES Classic shipped 1.26 million. They don't have the SNES Classic. I don't understand why. I guess they bundled that together in this report. I'm reading this off of Nintendo World Report. So if you're messing up, whoever wrote this article. The Switch, it went from wait. What is this? Oh, this is software sales.
Yeah, you're looking at software performance and milestones.
So 17.96 million units of software last quarter, which is up. That's up 120%.
Yeah, it's crazy
in comparison to
the quarter one.
So right, that's a whole nother thing. That's like they're down in hardware sales, but the reason why you're selling the hardware is to sell software in the first place. So you know it's a win-win on that one. 3DS 2.95 million units of software.
Again,
I don't know why.
Again, down for down
49%. So yeah, we're closing the curtain. It's fine. WarioWare is going to sell another 2 million. It's okay. No, it's not. But Labo, something that a lot of people had a question about, or it's like, it's Labo failing, and Labo didn't really seem like as big of a deal as I thought it would be. Blah blah. Or I thought that you thought it would be. You know, like what they think Nintendo thinks it's going to be. But nonetheless, it sold 1.39 million units combined between the two sets. That's pretty good, you know, especially before the holiday, and for something that is supposed to be like this long-term evergreen thing. I would say 1.39 million units in one of the worst selling like quarters in the year. You know, like this isn't holiday season,
right? Exactly, right.
And it sold 1.39 million units, so that's decent. You know,
something else that's decent. Mario Tennis Aces 1.38 million.
Yes, buy that game. Also, also product provided by Nintendo. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. They didn't provide the product for this one. A phenomenal game. Buy that too. Bob doesn't like that game because he's not good at it. Super Mario Odyssey lifetime sales at 11.17 million units.
Freaking that's crazy. That's crazy. If you haven't played that game, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what's wrong with you.
Are you alive and breathing?
Right, exactly.
Is my question, because like we could roll it back a little bit, but the Switch is at, I mean, I think now, because again these are as of I think June 30th, so like Switch already passed 20 million. Like Switch is at 20 plus. As far as I don't know by how much, but I know it's past 20 million because just what we can see through like the Japanese charts and stuff like that. Like we already know they passed that. But yeah, just based off the 19 million or 20 million or whatever, that's more than half right there. So the most people that have Switches, I would assume, have Mario Odyssey. Especially the ones that know what they're talking about. And our audience knows what they're talking about. So if you don't have it, you go get it. So you know what you're talking about. Anyway, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Lifetime sales at 9.32 million units.
Yeah.
Also ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Even more ridiculous. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. 10.35 million units sold. That is nuts. Because that is like 2 million above the Wii U number.
That's crazy.
And the Wii U version already sold a crazy amount of units, especially considering the fact that it was on Wii U. It sold over 8 million units on Wii U.
That's nuts. That's nuts. Seriously.
Yeah, that's insane. That's way more than half, because the Wii U sold less than 14 million units. So that's insane. Like, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold so many copies. Kirby Star Allies, meh. You know,
Right.
But that game sold 1.89 million units.
Yeah.
Impressive for a game that I don't like very much. The
other notables, the Switch had.
Yeah. Another thing that they include is that the Switch has 10 individual million seller titles. That is, has more than that. But yeah, it has 10. I don't know why they include that. It has at least 10. Because another thing, I don't have an article about it, but this isn't seller yet. It's shipped. But Octopath. I'll never stop calling it Project Octopath. Octopath also shipped 1 million units, they announced recently.
Yeah.
No thanks to Logan, because he didn't talk about it. But yeah, that's the bullet points on this. I was going to run down like all the like individual. Well, I guess we can. Splatoon 2's at 6.76 million. 1-2 Switch is at 2.45 million. ARMS is at 2.01 million. Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is at 1.42 million.
That's crazy.
That's all the ones that we didn't specify in that little breakdown initially. I think including the Wii U sales, the Breath of the Wild is like over 10 million. I don't know how much more over 10 million.
Right.
I don't think that they have that. I don't think they have Breath of the Wild on the Wii U charts. But I can check. Breath of the Wild. Nope. It's not on there. So who knows? Let us know, Nintendo. But yeah, that's it for that. The too long didn't read bullet point thing of that is Nintendo's making a whole bunch of money, and we're losing all of ours.
Nintendo's doing really good. That's all you need to know.
How much of your money did you give to Nintendo? Let us know in the comments.
Speaking of doing really good, something that's going to do really good when it comes out is Yoshi for the Switch.
Will it?
I don't know, actually. I don't know.
I see it. Yeah, I see a lot of mixed results on that.
Perhaps. Perhaps.
A lot of people in the comments of this video seem pretty positive on like what they think about Yoshi. There are some people that are like, I don't know, it could be terrible. You know, it could go either way.
Right.
Which you're more on that spectrum of like it doesn't seem like it's going to be a very interesting game at the very least. But I don't know. I think it's definitely going to be on that million seller list. Or it might not be on the list. It might not be high millions. I think it's going to like just at least
it'll be a Kirby type of thing. Like maybe a little bit on like 1.5, something like that.
Yeah.
Something fair.
I was thinking more like 1.05, but yeah, maybe 1.5. But yeah, what did you think about that video, Logan?
It was good. You definitely you delved into a lot of what you showed a lot. You had a lot of love toward the series. I don't know. You really broke it down in a way that our previous Yoshi video did not. No, but it was a really good video. I liked it.
Thanks. It was like I have more to say about Yoshi. It was a really last minute thing. But I like the final product, I guess so. It's doing pretty good. People like it. I'm not going to talk about what I have to add because I might make another Yoshi video in the future. Well, especially if Nintendo, if Nintendo provides it, I'll definitely make another video about Yoshi.
Yeah, Yoshi does really well for us, so that's definitely
so far.
Right?
We're batting 1,000. Yeah.
So yeah, that's definitely got to be the thing we freaking come back to, and we always got to come back to the comments. Every single week on every video. Thank you guys so much for first of all, thank you for freaking this video this week, holding it down as always, and thank you guys for holding it down as always in the comments. So we're gonna get into these here.
These comments are insane.
They are.
Like all of them.
They are.
All of them are very long, except for one. I was like, I gotta find one comment that's like pretty good that isn't like a book.
All right.
But because of that, I only pulled a couple. Because
right. Understandably
the show
so.
would be insanely long if I pulled all the comments that I like. I like very much that you guys write long comments. Do not let this discourage you. Please keep doing it. Because I read them. And I try to include them in the podcast. Trying to get more new faces, because a lot of people we do like talk about again.
Yeah, the park a lot. The park like, and the Gazentia Fox, and
I think pretty much all of these but one. Yeah, all these comments but one are people that we know. Yeah, like that are regulars. So if you're newer to the channel, let your voice be heard. I know you got some thoughts. I know you're like, hey, this video is stupid, and here's why. Don't say it like that, because you probably won't get the comment.
Right,
unless it's really incendiary, in which case we'll probably have to read it. Just to, be even.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, let's get into this first comment here. The Park-a-Lock, a regular, as we said. They say, he says,
how dare you?
It's interesting comparing Yoshi and Kirby versus Star Fox and Metroid. Not for any sales reasons, but only for the reasons that I feel like they all have the ability to disappoint, but for different opposite reasons. Star Fox and Metroid feel like they could reach the skies, literally or not, and have so many possibilities and directions they could go. That would be reasonable and almost expected. Kirby and Yoshi have the 3D sphere they could enter, but moreover, I don't think there are as many obvious ideas with those kinds of franchise, and that are either scares or excites me. So with Star Fox and M could disappoint by not living up to any of these immense amount of possibilities I have in mind. Kirby and Yoshi can easily disappoint by just being themselves again. Ooh. That's so true.
That's true.
That's so true.
It's true.
And not breaking the mold. I am legitimately excited for this Yoshi game because it does seem quite puzzle and exploration heavy, as Yoshi typically is, and that was something that was disappointing with Kirby. It could let down in other ways, but I'll remain hopeful in the meantime. Yeah, it's very true. That's very true because like you said, Star Fox and Metroid have so many places they could go. Wow.
Yeah, like I completely agree, because like Star Fox, they both of those games have established like contemporaries, where it's like in the sense of like what those games are about narratively. There's very distinct frameworks for that. Like you do have like the Halos and the Mass Effects and stuff like that, right? Where you can easily borrow from games like that. Kind of in the way that Breath of the Wild borrowed from Skyrim.
Yeah.
And from, like Portal and all that stuff, where it's like, it's okay to take from games that are similar to what you're trying to accomplish, and make that your own and implement even more things. There's a lot of people that are like stuck in with a game, like they like a game, and they're different from us in this, where we want to see like constant progress, where it's like, okay, we like this, we like the idea of this, we like what the core is, right? And the core, as we talk about quite a bit, is usually a lot simpler than a lot of people chalk it up to be. Usually people are like, this game is, and then they have this long list of things that if it's not exactly this long list, then it's not this game.
Right.
But in reality, a game is like, this game is about this, and this. Those three things, period. How you accomplish those, up to you. But as long as you hit those three things, it's this game, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So like, it's disappointing to see games kind of like stick so closely to what they have been in the past, because like the games that really last a long time, like the Marios, they evolve more than that. We're not just a carpenter jumping over barrels. Climbing scaffoldings or whatever.
Yeah, it just depends on it's just the community is the surrounding these games. Like each game has its own pocket that it sits in, and it seems like especially for things like it depends on the community, because they could be super receptive to things like that, to the changes, or they can just be so freaking stuck. And this is what it is. Like you said, if it deviates at all from what was already given,
I think
it's like they don't like it.
At least in my experience, like from what I see from our reception of our videos, most people are receptive of, like, as long as this is like as long as you're not coming in and being like, hey, Kirby, you know that game, let's make it Halo 6, you know, like, as long as you're not doing that, then most people are like, yeah, you know, like, that makes sense. There's always going to be a pocket of people that are like, no, I want it to be just like Yoshi's Island, you know?
Right, exactly.
Or no, for Pokemon, I want it to be just like it's always been for the last 2 decades or whatever.
Yeah, because I mean, we like we do see those, but like conversely, I do see a lot of the those like, oh, this is what Star Fox is. I don't want Star Fox to be this. You're freaking, you know, you're high as a kite.
Like yeah, exactly. Like, right. Star Fox is about being a rail shooter and being 45 minutes long, right. And you know, like, it's like,
I want a rail shooter that's 15 hours long. It's freaking crazy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, no, it's not that. It's like that was a means to an end. Like, especially when a game is like so like deeply entrenched in a narrative, more often than not, like, a lot of the mechanics are because that's how they could figure out how to accomplish the thing that they wanted to do narratively. You know, like Pokemon, or not even just narratively, but like in like a broad sense. Like, Pokemon didn't do random encounters in grass because that was their artistic vision. You know, like, they couldn't. They
had to work with what they had. They had to work with what they had.
They couldn't populate the world with tens of Pokemon in an environment at a time, right? Like, they couldn't do that. That's not, like, the Game Boy didn't work like that,
right? They had to work with what they had, and it kind of just became a thing, you know. You know, it's like, well, we did this, and we've already, you know, we've been running this for a long time. We might as well not deviate from that. And now people are like, no, that's what Pokemon is in general.
Yeah, solutions to a problem eventually become conventions, and then it's hard to break away from that because people start to I can't brain fart. Start to, like, attach that idea to what the franchise is supposed to be once things become a convention. But we need to move on because we're going to spend way too long on each comment.
Exactly, because these comments are freaking
they're great
novels
and thought-provoking and all that good dear stuff. But we need to spend equal time.
You guys poured out your heart and souls on these, and we appreciate it. The next person that poured out their heart and souls is Gensha Fox. Gensha Fox comments frequently. We appreciate it. They go on to say,
I'm pretty sure, like, always, like, every video.
They go on to say, They go on to say, I think part of Yoshi's problem as a franchise, and while I've never played a Yoshi game, I didn't like, has a problem as a franchise. It's just how strong the original was. As you said, Yoshi's Island. Yoshi's Island is a combination of everything. 2D platforming could be up to that point of gaming. Most levels throw in an idea in that could have been fleshed out into an entire world, sometimes even game. The big eggs that are the central gimmick to Yoshi's new island and got retained into Woolly World, a throwaway level concept in Yoshi's Island used for another level. Where do you even go from there? What does that premise even mean in 2018? How do you do a game that captures all the disparate branches of platforming since the 16-bit era? 2D platforming seems far more diverse now than it was in 1995, which makes it feel like it's going back to its roots, if not a fool's errand, then like it would be a result of disjointed mess. I want to see Yoshi go forward rather than a hugely enjoying but ultimately shallow retreads of the original. That's a very good point. But I'm not just seeing how it would do so by going back to the franchise roots, unless we're both wrong on what those roots are. I'm looking forward to Yoshi's Children diorama, or whatever it is they call it. From what we've seen of it, the core mechanics of Yoshi, the flutter jump, the turning enemies into eggs, the using them as ammo for range attacks, the way the eggs bounce to both make some targets harder to hit by requiring it, but also making basic targets easier by some situations, giving you a second chance simply because they're near a wall or something that means you might hit them on a rebound. On the rebound, sorry. And this looks like it's going to take full solid fundamentals of Yoshi mechanics and add Kelowna Colonia 2 style of level design and a 2D path that traverses.
You talking? Did he say Klonoa?
Klonoa. Yeah, Klonoa 2D. Klonoa 2D style of level design with a 2D path that traverses a 3D environment in a way that can interact with the foreground and background elements that my path may twist onto, which I not only really like in Klonoa 2, but makes perfect sense with the core mechanics of Yoshi. Heck, it's already a concept used in prior Yoshi games during the final boss fights, and there were many throwback mechanics in Yoshi's core island that could be more gimmick of entire games thing. I also like how much they seem to be committing to the art style based on what they showed at E3 last year, with everything they pulled operated by Shy Guys acting as strange stagehands for the level. That's a very good point, very interesting. Which feels like it's going to show in puzzle solving, eating and egging the right Shy Guys to deactivate or the right moving parts to open new passes out, closing others. All of those two things will be enough to make this feel distinct enough from Yoshi's Island that it doesn't feel like another retread of it. But I'm not really expecting that. I'll enjoy it whatever since Yoshi has a very solid mechanics and as a foundation. I just wish they could make a Yoshi game that didn't feel like a shallow reach of Yoshi's Island. Maybe that's it though. Maybe the reason every Yoshi game since Yoshi's Island feels like a shallow reach of Yoshi is, however enjoyable it is because Yoshi's Island used things that could be entire game mechanics, game concepts as levels of as level gimmicks. And Yoshi since then being more sensible in their use of ideas and spreading the entire game concepts, including those in Yoshi's Island as level gimmicks, out entire games rather than using them as level gimmicks. Maybe Nintendo just needs to start doing that again to make Yoshi games feel combinations of everything 2D platforming has and can be again, rather than a highly enjoyable retread of Yoshi's Island. Make a Metroidvania as a level in a Yoshi game. Make a mind-bending Escher. Make a mind-bending Escher-based puzzle game as a level in Yoshi game, making a touching story about embracing yourself, including your weaknesses, with some story beats, just the critical path if you explore a little in the very tougher platformer as a level in the Yoshi game, and do things I can't think of because they haven't been done yet, all as single levels in a Yoshi game, if not as a part of this Yoshi game, then the next. That man.
Yeah. The basic like through line throughout this comment that I really agree with is like, yeah, like maybe that is a problem. Like maybe they did kind of shoot themselves in the foot there, where they were like, let's just throw everything at this because we're never coming back to 2D again. And then they're like, oh shoot, we're back at 2D again. We used all those ideas, so what are we going to do now? All right,
yeah,
let's extrapolate the level that we had on 2-4 or whatever, you know.
Right. It's like you said, Yoshi's Island was so ambitious in like the way they did things and put like together the levels, and so it's like, yeah, like you said, they made whole like worlds that could have been just concepts for another game, and that's what we've been seeing, which is crazy.
Yeah, like they would use two mechanics and one level that would be the whole world for two worlds, and a lesser quote unquote question mark game, in Yoshi's Island. Yoshi's Island is ridiculous. I'm pretty sure you haven't played that because you didn't even know Yoshi could transform. What a noob! You didn't even know Yoshi could transform. Did he not transform in Yoshi's Story?
No, I don't believe he did.
Yoshi's Story is garbage. 0 out of 10.
Oh my god!
Don't play it. Just like everything else on N64. Moving on.
You gotta throw that in there at least once.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, Yoshi. Come on, guys. I think it'll be interesting. We'll see where that goes. Speaking of seeing where it goes, Metroid Prime 4.
I don't want to see anything from it. I hope it gets canceled.
I like when you mentioned how basically like you said, Metroid inspired these games, and they took inspiration and made their own paths to what FPSs are, and Metroid can then in turn be inspired by these other games. And I like the fact that you pointed out, as far as like the evergreen titles, as far as like the single player games that have this longevity. And Metroid Prime 4 could definitely be one of those forerunners for Nintendo. And it's just another one of those ambitious titles, man. One of those things that could really, if they really worked hard at it and really put everything behind it, it could just, be massive.
Yeah, because it really seems like there's two paths that you can go down if you want your game to sell throughout the life cycle of a console. It's either you're this big like showpiece, like this God of War, this Uncharted 4, this Tomb Raider, this Horizon Zero Dawn, like those games. Or you're an esport. I can't see Metroid being an esport, but I can see it being a showpiece. So that's the place that I think, and also, like I said in the video, I think that it just naturally fits as that, where multiplayer in a Metroid game feels like it would be kind of tacked on unless they did it in like in her training days or something like that, because even though there are more bounty hunters and stuff like that in the world of Metroid, they're not present in the game most times, unless you're Other M or whatever. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense to do like, oh, now I know you're like deserted on this planet all by yourself, and we're not helping you. Right. We could take a break and have a death match.
Just in sake of, in spite, like just for the sake of the multiplayer.
Yeah, just to be able to put multiplayer on the box is just like.
It wouldn't make sense in the scope of the universe. Like, wait, this doesn't even feel right,
Right. Because like you couldn't even do like making Mario Odyssey like actually multiplayer, not like the buddy car sidecar thing situation that they have going on with a lot of recent Mario games. Yeah. You can't even really do like you can do like full on multiplayer with Mario and have it be natural, where it's just like just add Luigi. But there is none of that with Metroid. Like there's no like front of your brain like, oh yeah, well just make her partner this person. Like I'm sure like the diehard Metroid fans are like, oh, well, there was this one Marine that they had in there. It's like, I mean, I guess so. Like if you really wanted to shoehorn it in, but that's like the equivalent of like doing like a Dark Pit situation. Like, oh shoot, we need another character, Dark Pit.
Right, exactly.
Or Dark Samus. So yeah, I don't think the multiplayer thing makes sense. It would be cool, because I mean that's another reason for the people that buy the game to play it for a longer time, But I don't think that that's like a necessity for every game that you own. Like I think that the most important thing for Metroid and Metroid's like long-term success is that it's a game that people want to buy for a long time. Doesn't necessarily have to be a game that you play for the rest of your life though. Mm-hmm.
They can just keep dropping the Federation Forces series and is like, this is your multiplayer Metroid, but the Prime series, like this is a single player. But
that's a good point. Yeah. They would definitely have to like change that style and like release it closer to like a full-on Metroid game. To like, they might even have to change the name to cleanse it of the bad reputation that it has. But yeah, I like that idea. That's a good idea.
Thank you.
They could even do it as like DLC.
Yeah.
We're just like, here's this $30 piece of DLC that's like added multiplayer or whatever that comes out 6 months post Metroid Prime 4.
And even at that, like it's not at that point you're not really competing for any space either. Like that's unique. Federation Force is unique. It's not like just any other like shooter type of deathmatch capture the flag, which is pretty sweet. But yeah. On to you guys' ideas. Retro Rush starts everything off, and he says, "Great points, AJ. Usually don't use motion controls except for in Breath of the Wild, but after the way you explained it, I'm definitely gonna have to use them a bit more. If Metroid Prime 4 borrows from Splatoon 2 and Breath of the Wild, the controls could even be better than shooters today, like Call of Duty and Gears. Also, I like the idea of past Samus. I would kinda like to see the story that was never told, but could jump from the past to the present to help you understand why you are where you are in this new story. Anyways, great video as always. Hopefully we see this game mid-2019.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, like, when they think motion aiming, they think, like, that's all you do. Like, that's how you aim.
Right, you just twist your body and you...
Don't touch the analog stick. Just move the controller all over the place, where it's like, no, it's just, like, motion aiming. And, like, if you watch anybody at, like, in, like, Splatoon tournaments, right? Like, they're not turning their motion controls off, but they're also not flailing around, Like, they have their controller very still. You see... like very minute movements, and I'm sure, like, I mean, you're from what I've seen, you're decent at Splatoon, so I'm sure that you understand that concept of, like, the broad movements are definitely for analog stick, because that's, like, you can do that quicker than, like, moving your entire body. But, like, being able to, like, fine-tune your accuracy with motion is so much easier to do, because doing that type of movement with your thumb is harder to do than with both of your hands, where it's like you can like easily, like, really line stuff up and adjust for what your broad sweeping movements, like where that veers off from what you're trying to do. So, like, when people start to wrap their head around that and understand, like, oh, okay, that's how that works, then it's a lot easier. Granted, again, like I said in the video, they need to be good. They need to be good motion controls, because a lot of times motion is, like, not really sensitive enough, where you do have to kind of, like, get into the flailing territory. But I'd say, like, the Joy-Con and the even the Pro Controller are a lot more, like, they're better than that. It's not the Wii Remote.
I don't know any example of games like that. Star Fox Zero.
Yeah, but I mean, that's kind of like that's when you branch off into, like, what the motion is for at that point. I don't think they didn't design Star Fox Zero to be functional. They designed it to be immersive and fun, where it's like the idea of it is like, oh man, I'm in this spaceship, oh shoot, I gotta turn around, like that's what it's more about. It's not supposed to be like this, like, pro, like, 360 no scope situation. It's just supposed to be like, man, it feels so cool to play a game like this, didn't land for everybody.
Right.
Which is fair, but I think that too many people don't understand that distinction. Too many people associate motion aiming with the Star Fox Zeros and the Wii Sports and, like, the games like that, where it's not that on the whole, especially now.
All right,
but moving on to
we'll get moving on to the next book, rather. I think James Healy. Yeah, James Healy. What I want to see in Metroid Prime 4 is for Samus to receive a distress signal from a large galactic federation base on the planet that's never been explored before. I know that's not completely original, but bear with me. Upon entering the base, Samus runs into some sort of electrical interference that damages her ship and also destroys her power suit abilities, leaving her with her Zero suit and her paralyzer. An homage to the first half of the final act of Zero mission. The whole base is littered with the corpses of the Federation members and ravaged technology. Samus explores the base, and the first part is a horror story, like you said. She'll eventually encounter Metroid in the base, but she won't be powerful enough to deal with it. Stripped of her Ice Beam, missiles, Morph Ball, and bombs, she will instantly die if she comes in contact with him. Samus will find an operational marine suit that will boost her power a bit with a standard power beam weapon. The base will be a small part of the planet that acts as a central hub with the natural ground tunnels that connect the rest of the planet. Samus will have to explore the planet to find out what happens to the base and to retrieve her abilities, which I'm not quite sure how what Chozo technology can be explained to be at a GF base, but probably has to do with retrieving the abilities she originally had upon entering the planet. It will turn out that Celix infiltrated the GF base and stole Metroids as per Federation Forces, and is growing then in an underground bunker. The game should be an open world adventure, so like Breath of the Wild, with a focused more on underground exploration, more akin to the original Metroid. We said that before. I think there should be large seas and land masses, but crossing continents would be mostly underground. Underwater, perhaps. Do away with the doors, at least the shootable ones. Most of the upgrades shouldn't be required. They just help. A lot of people will think that's very anti-Metroidvania, but the original Metroid only required a few upgrades. Sorry. I think Metroid Prime should have an actual space jump and more natural wall jump, panning out of the third person as necessary, but never in a way that's so stiff and limited as in echoes and corruption. Gyro aiming should be more like Doom on the Nintendo Switch. Beams shouldn't stack like the first Prime. The gunship should be able to operate once Samus restores functionality to it. Also, I don't like the flashback idea. I'd like Prime 4 to take place in a real time in the same sequence you play in the game. Also incorporate a day and night cycle that's more unusual with colors, i.e. varying between some like pink and yellow skies. Also, no hint system or hand holding. Let players find out things on their own.
I like a lot of this. I'm not really on board for the like, oh, her suit broke again, you know, because that feels like Deus Ex Machina territory. Where it's like, yeah, of course her suit broke again, because that's what always happens, right? And like, this is the part where her suit breaks, you know. I think that the reason why the flashbacks make the most sense is because not everybody understands the inner parts of the lore, you know. Like there's a lot of people like read the manga and stuff like most people are not going to want to do that. So like having all that information available to you in a way that doesn't feel like you have to dig for it is how you present your story to the most people possible. But outside of that, I mean, I agree with the rest of that. With pretty much everything else that you said, I agree. I like the idea of that. I think that this game does have a lot, or this genre even, has a lot in common with how Breath of the Wild operates, you know? Mm-hmm. Where it is really about discovery and, like, looping back on this world and stuff like that. And, like, something I wanted to avoid, but is, an apt comparison and an apt game to look at. It's like the Dark Souls games, like Bloodborne and stuff like that. Like a big part of those games is like that looping back in on itself of like, oh, I've been here before and I can wreck these dudes now, you know, because I understand. Not even necessarily because you got better. Like in terms of like your character, like not that your character got mechanically better, but that you're just better at how the game works, right?
Yeah.
Like,
you played enough. You're better. You understand these things, and that going back to that, like that's how the early Metroids were. Like, you know, you had even though it wouldn't obviously be to the scale, but you know, having the exploration, having the, you know, being able to just discover things, and like you said, let players do it on their own, and just explore. Like that's what the very earliest versions were. So going back to that would be freaking awesome. And then, you know, having, like you said, like just being able to be like, okay, I've gotten, you know, it wasn't any upgrades, it wasn't any, you know, nothing crazy, I just got better at this, and that would just feel awesome.
And Breath of the Wild again proved that a lot of players like that. And it's not like in this like convoluted like figure it out kind of way where it's like, oh, you obviously had to talk to that one NPC, then they'll let you progress, you know, like not in that way, but in like kind of a way that you could kind of infer that that's how it works, you know. Like in Breath of the Wild, like they don't straight up, I mean, there's probably an NPC that tells you that. I think probably the old man does in the like opening section of the game, but like it's obvious in cartoon logic that if you eat a hot pepper, it keeps you warm, you know, like that sort of stuff. Or it's obvious that if you have a metal weapon on your back, you're going to conduct electricity and it's going to strike you, you know, lightning's going to strike you, stuff like that. Like there's some type of like something that you can trigger in people's minds of like, oh, that's like that thing, you know. Like I heard in Pokemon once that water conducts electricity. Obviously that's how that works, you know, like that sort of thing. where it's like it doesn't necessarily have to be realism, but it makes sense to connect it to something that that people can relate to outside of just this game.
Right, exactly. You know, it's like it's not too far of a reach. Like, obviously, you know, you like something like you understand this. You know, it makes sense. So
right. Like it may not make actual sense.
Right. It makes sense
if I smack this fire rod, if I smack this this bird with a fire rod, it makes sense that it's going to turn into chicken, like cooked chicken.
Right.
Like, you know, like it makes sense that if I have this Deku lady, if I swing
it's exaggerated, but it's not. Yeah, it's super exaggerated, but it makes sense.
Right. It makes sense and cartoon logic.
Right, exactly.
If we're in a cartoon, which Breath of the Wild very much so looks like one, it makes sense that if you you swing this fan at your sail claw, like at your boat, like with this sail, it's gonna move. You know, like that just makes sense. So like, yeah, stuff like that, you know, where in some way, maybe it's even like sci-fi logic, you know, like pull from stuff like that, where it's like, oh yeah, well it just makes sense that that's how warp travel works or whatever, right? Like that sort of thing.
Exactly. So yeah.
I don't know how long are we running?
It's 56 minutes, so I think.
I'm sorry. This comment was from Grimhane. I'm sorry, Grimhane. We're gonna have to cut this comment. You know, I don't want to turn this podcast into like a super long podcast.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay a little bit over an hour, especially considering this week. This week is a doozy.
Right. Yeah.
So let's Well, yeah, Grimhane, you understand. You know, we'll get to a comment.
Oh yeah.
I guess.
Right. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, he'll always be back. So he gets it. Nothing personal.
Speaking of people who'll always be back and will get it, I hope that's you guys. You know, just like, you know, leave comments.
I approve. I approve that segue. That was good.
I made all the segues except for like two.
I approve.
The Q&A segment.
Q&A question and that. Guys, make sure you're leaving your questions. You know, either in the community tabs or the Discord. Just ask a question, say anything you want to. Just talk to us, all right? Just don't be shy. So yeah, getting into this week's Q&A. Junko Morales, they say.
What? I don't know. Jean-Coff Morales? Is that what?
Jean-Coff Morales.
Yeah, it sounded like how you said it the first time didn't sound right to me.
Yeah.
I could very much so be equally as wrong. Let us know in the comments.
Should I take one protest to Nintendo of America HQ over no word of Yoshi Switch? Also, keep up the good work. I found you thanks to Bob. Hello.
You're supposed to read that in a Toad voice.
Oh. They should have put Asterisk Toe voice, but
well, you're supposed to just know because that's like I guess it was like.
I guess it's kind of inverted.
Yeah,
it's inferred because of the whole Yoshi Switch comment prior.
Yeah.
But
fake Nintendo.
Yeah. I mean. Yeah, do it. No, don't do it.
I don't think you should protest.
No.
I think protesting Nintendo of America is kind of
no. I'm gonna say you should be very concerned. You should be very concerned because they're gonna cancel the game. It's never gonna come out ever.
I don't think. I mean, you could have to be concerned. I don't know. It could go either way. Somebody said that in the comments earlier today. I didn't pull that comment, but somebody said it. That they're like, it could go either way of like, it could be because it's in a good place or it's in a bad place. So who knows? But at any rate, it's not Nintendo of America's fault, you know? Like, I guess they could in theory say, hey, here's what we know about this game. But if they know that the game's not coming out for 8 months, there's no reason.
They're like, man, we got more pressing matters. But yeah, I mean, we'll definitely see more about it. So just give it time, you know. Just give it time, Morales.
Because what if it does get canceled, and they're sitting here just like regularly talking about it and saying like, yeah, Yoshi Switch is coming out, blah blah, and then like it'll get scale bound.
Oh,
it's like we hear about it every year for 4 years, and then it's just like it's gone. You know, like it's better to just not talk about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, the fate of the game is in limbo.
Yeah, we'll see. But Yoshi has that following. Scalebound didn't. So yeah.
I mean, it did after the fact. Everybody was like, I bought an Xbox Scalebound. You know, like, yeah, sure.
Right, exactly.
Of course you did. But yeah. If you're going to protest anybody, protest NCL. Because Nintendo of America, they have input, you know, where it's like, yeah, maybe we should do this, you know, or maybe you should adjust this for the American audience. But they're not the one developing the game. They're just marketing it in a way that we understand and will enjoy.
And we'll enjoy you guys when you guys keep asking the questions. Thank you so much. Chief Screaming Chicken. Should Nintendo take the Microsoft approach and buy more studios to make use of their underused IPs? If so, which studios?
I don't think that's like the sort of thing that Nintendo would typically do. They have a lot of devs. Like, they staff a lot of devs. Like, a lot. Like, hundreds of thousands. It's just that a lot of those come out of, like, the same, like, umbrella. Like, usually you'll see... It used to be EAD, but now it's EPD. Mm-hmm. Or is it EP? I'm pretty sure it's EPD now. And that's like a whole bunch of devs, you know, like you'll hear a lot of like you'll see Nintendo EPD on Zelda and on Mario. It's not the same team. The same people that are working on Mario are not working on Zelda. You know, there might be a little bit of crossover here and there because they're like, oh, well, let's borrow this dude because he's really good at this part of game development or whatever, right? But for the most part, they're two separate teams. They're just not like name. They don't have like this vanity name of like, oh, we're Nintendo Studios Tokyo and we're Nintendo Studios China and stuff like that. It's just like if it was developed by Nintendo in Japan, probably is under EPD. And then we have like Intelligent Systems, and which I think Intelligent Systems might be second party, or maybe they're first party now. There's Monolith Soft, and there's Retro Studios, and there's One Up Studios, and there's a lot of studios that Nintendo has. They don't really have the same problem that Microsoft did, because Microsoft really only has had 5 studios maybe that I can think of. Like they had the Coalition, they had 343, they had Turn 10. Who else? Microsoft Game Studio, but Microsoft Game Studios is like, you know, like the overall like branching thing. It's not really like a specific team. So like it was like a different situation from like Sony and Nintendo, where Sony and Nintendo have a whole bunch of dev teams. Could they use it? Sure, everybody can use more developers. It just depends on if that's what they want to do. I don't know if they're still in like the recruiting stage mentally, where it's like, oh, we still gotta gain more traction with Switch before we start doing the weird stuff. Cause that
would just give more that just give more potency to the Venom, because they're already freaking going crazy. So it's like that would just be nuts.
Right.
At that point,
because I think that Switch is definitely going to eventually get to that point where they're just like, okay, time to get weird, you know, brand new, what was that samurai? The samurai dude in Smash Brothers, that's an assist trophy that throws a shuriken. Brand new game from him, you know, like weird stuff like that. Weird stuff like this little known game called F-Zero. Maybe we'll get
maybe, you know, and maybe we'll also get one of those questions in the or comments in the Q&A segment. That wasn't foreshadowing at all. Isdrin 2.
It's LSD. You're
LSD Ryan 2. Why do I keep saying that? I think that's not the first time I did that. LSD Ryan 2.
It's not at all.
Yeah. What would you add to a new version of Suspect's Emissary for Smash Ultimate? How would you improve it from the original? What would we add? What would we add from the new version of Suspect's Emissary?
I'd be down for it to be online multiplayer.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. That's interesting. I mean, I didn't really have any faults with like the original.
I wish I could have chose where I started, like whose perspective I started from.
That'd be neat.
Because I don't want to play most of the game as Pit, you know, like stuff like that. Like I want to start as a Pokemon trainer or something, right? So like doing stuff like that, I think might be cool. But for the most part, it's kind of limited by like how Smash Brothers mechanics work. So I don't know.
Right. There's not. So I can't really go grand with the scope of anything. Like say, but like, oh, incorporate this and because like, okay, you got to keep it, within the scope of what Smash Brothers is. Like, because like, how we had the whole traversal, like the side to side, and that makes sense. And that all of a sudden having Suspect's Emissary be like this freaking this completely different thing. It's like, okay, that's not Smash though. It doesn't make any sense. So I mean, I don't know, honestly. But I think online multiplayer. I think that'd be cool. Could you do like just like 4 people? I don't think you could do like even 4-player co-op like couch. What if they did that and they freaking put like 8-player co-op? That'd be freaking crazy.
Oh my god,
that'd be nuts. that'd be freaking.
You
crazy.
would probably need a giant TV
that'd
for
be
that
crazy.
because they would have to scale it in terms of enemies and it'd be.
There you go, freaking 8-player couch, freaking story.
Something about Smash that I think is probably going to happen. Like I think it's pretty much a given at this point. I think we're going to see 8-player Smash online. Like I wouldn't be surprised at all
that'd be freaking
if we
crazy.
see 8-player Smash online.
I would love that.
It probably will be laggy as all hell, but I think we'll probably see it. Hopefully it's not laggy. Hopefully we get dedicated servers. Nintendo, dedicated servers. Please and thank you. Speaking of please and thank you. Please and thank you. Keep letting these comments keep rolling, people.
Are you guys excited for Megaton Rainfall coming to Switch?
So have you seen this game?
Well, first of all, let me I'm so sorry. Link. That was the person who asked the question.
From Link. Have you seen this game?
No, huh?
Just do a quick copy paste Google search. It looks cool. I'm interested. I emailed those people as soon as I saw a trailer for that, and I was like, I am interested in trying this game. I don't know if we want to sit here and wait for you to like view the whole trailer. Maybe just skim through it a little bit.
Yeah, I'm fast forwarding.
Like what it is.
Fast forwarding.
So right now, like plant. Oh my god! It's exploding in my ears. Okay, here we go. It's basically like this superhero game where it's like, or superhero. I don't think that they like explicitly call it that, because it's kind of like the goal of the game is like, yeah, you're supposed to like save the city that you're in or whatever, right? But you're also like trying to like not destroy everything. it's kind of like it's like they turned Man of Steel into a game where it's like that was a whole thing of like, man, it's like this moral quandary because like he's saving us and
but he's destroying things at the same time. I like how destructive. I don't know, just from like just a visual level, just how destructive this game is. Like literally things, buildings exploding, things being eviscerated. It looks cool. Looks cool.
Yeah, game looks.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's crazy. Definitely gonna play that. Yeah.
Yeah, apparently it was already on PSVR, but ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah, exactly.
PlayStation in months.
When I typed it in, those are the first 2 links I seen. I was like, I'm not freaking what? But yeah.
Yeah, but apparently it's coming to Switch in like a couple of days. So.
That's sweet. I'll play it.
I'm down.
All right. Iron Thor asks, how would you guys feel if Shovel Knight or Rayman joined the roster? I'm assuming. I'm assuming by roster you're talking about Smash Brothers. That'd be cool. That'd be cool. Well, except for Rayman, I don't really care for Rayman. To be honest,
I was kind of on the same
I don't care for Rayman.
Where it's like I feel like a lot of people want Rayman because Rayman's kind of like like I wouldn't put him on the level of like a Mega Man or anything like that, but he is like a gaming icon in quotes. Where it's like he's kind of like this like vet in a way, but he's not like one of the super important ones.
Like over half the people be like, who the heck is that? Like obviously people who people who are close to they pay attention to gaming. Like they know who Rayman is. Like, okay, all right, But
if you're
honestly,
big on gaming and like the PlayStation 1 games, you probably have an attachment to it.
It's like at this point, I'd honestly wouldn't be shocked if I saw a rabbit in Smash Bros. Over Rayman.
I mean, yeah,
I wouldn't be shocked.
Honestly,
that makes sense.
I would be shocked if we saw Rayman instead of
exactly. I want a rabbit in Smash Bros. You can put me down and saying that I want a rabbit in Smash.
I don't want a rabbit in Smash Brothers. Detach me from that.
Because
I'm not a part of that.
well, I'll say I'd rather that than Rayman. I'd rather that.
I wouldn't rather that than Rayman, but I'm just indifferent as to whether or not we get Rayman. I do not want a rabbit. I would be okay if we saw no representation from Ubisoft before we get a rabbit.
Because Rayman, I just don't care.
If you're going to put anybody, put Jade from what's that game called? Beyond Good and Evil. Put her in there.
Oh yeah, Shovel Knight. So you brought up Shovel Knight.
I'm down with
Shovel Knight. Should have been in Smash 4. Anyways, that'd be freaking, that'd be awesome. Because Shovel Knight's awesome and the game's awesome. Speaking of awesome, a character that's just awesome in Smash is Captain Falcon. And F-Zero Falcon. So we left a comment, left a statement on the Q&A segment. We appreciate it.
Our number one Logan fanboy.
I appreciate it. Thank you. He says, Logan, miss you this week, bro. I know life's a thing that we still got to deal with. My question is more so a generalized question regarding our channel. What's the video making process like for you guys? Writing scripts, getting footage, recording, and etc. How do you decide what to speak on week by week? Love you guys. Keep up the great work, boys. Hashtag Team Logan, hashtag Team Jess, hashtag F02K19. Does he even use his representation of Team Jess on his? Yeah,
like how often do you comment on
right? Exactly.
What's the last Jess video? Just Jess, YouTube.com/ I don't remember her thing. I'll put it in the description.
It'll be in the description.
Somebody remind me in the comments. I'll put it in the description. But it's not YouTube.com/ Just Jess. It's something else. But type in Just Jess with 3 S's on Google search or YouTube search, and it should pop up.
There you go. First off, I want to say thank you, Falcon. Appreciate it, man. This has been a crazy, crazy week. A lot of, it just, like you said, things happen. So I'm not going to delve into anything deeper than that. But I appreciate it so much. As for the video making process, I'll say 65% of the time, I'll be like, okay, I got this idea. I'm gonna talk about this, or I'm or it'll be like something I haven't talked about in a while. I haven't talked about Starbucks in a while, or whatever. Or other times,
I think like as far as percentages go, like with ideas, maybe I don't know how to put a number on it, but most times I'm like, Logan, you should probably talk about this, and then you'll branch off and like spiderweb it into something else. I'll give you like the basic like nest egg of like, hey, we haven't talked about F-Zero in a while, talk about that, and then you come up with whatever the idea is. If it's Star Fox, then you're like, hey, yeah, let's do that. And then there's like, there's like exceptions to that rule where you're just like, I'm just going to talk about Mario Party.
Right. True.
But
75 billion, I almost a million, 75,000.
Yeah. But a lot of times it's like I'll be like, hey, we haven't talked about this in a while, or I'll do something that does really well, and I'm like, hey, maybe you should double up on this. Or you'll do something really well, and I'm like later, hey, you should double up on this. So as far as that's just for clarification on that part of the process of like the idea, the ideation of the videos. Like outside of that, I don't know what your process is for writing the videos.
Yeah, just zone in, lock in, and write the it's really not hard. In the beginning, it was harder to like stretch and but I don't know. It's just easy. It's just easy as far as like writing and getting footage is just the same way. I mean, I think that takes the most time. Footage for the videos and because the writing and recording that's not hard.
Yeah, because I mean, for me, the footage usually takes the longest. Footage varies as far as like where we get it from. A lot of times I'll pull it from trailers. Sometimes I'll pull it from like really old like long plays and stuff like that. Just because I want something like generalized and there's not like a lot of like footage that wouldn't get claimed, and like maybe I don't have the game, or maybe I'm not able to capture it for whatever reason. Because like right now I can't capture a lot of stuff because my capture card, something's going up with that. So the footage usually takes a longer amount of time, unless I gather the footage as I'm scripting, which I find is the easiest way to do it, because I'll try to I'll I'll shoot the edit in a sense where it's like I'm writing the thing and I'm thinking in my head, okay, I want this on the screen when I'm talking about that. And like that just makes gathering it easier because it's already there, you know. Like a lot of times when the reason why it takes longer to gather footage, in my experience, when it does take long, is that I'm editing like in a linear fashion where it's like I'm editing what you'll see as I'm hearing it before I see it, like before I know what I'm going to put there. So I'll put something there before I know what I'm going to say 4 or 5 words later, and then I'll mention something else hyper specific that should be on the screen, and it's like, okay, well, I got to cut this here and find something that matches that. So I find it takes longer when I edit it like that, but usually if I plan ahead of time where it's like I want this footage here, then it's a lot easier. Like that happened with my Metroid video. My Metroid video is pretty easy to edit. Because the base of it was easy to edit. I'm not proud of that edit because I do want to start doing more of like, you know, like the animated bits of like, and the Mario video that I did like with the conveyor belt, or like the Pokemon video where I did like that weather thing. Like I want to do more stuff like that, but I need more time to really like pick the parts of the video that I think.
Yeah, so it's really take care of the edit, you know.
Yeah. Also, I think that the Metroid video is a harder video in that sense because a lot of stuff that I was mentioning has like very clear like things that already exist in the world, right? Like in Pokemon, it's like I'm talking about this like more abstract, like not something that has like this analog, like this direct analog of like this is what I can show on screen and it already exists and there's footage right here. It's in a trailer. It's something that I have to illustrate through animations. But Metroid, if I'm like, yeah, start the game like how Uncharted 2 starts, I should probably put Uncharted 2
right, exactly, screen, you know? Exactly, yeah. You can't really, you know, mess with that too much. It's just like, you know, it's like it is what it is essentially. You know, it's like, okay, I did this is just a statement that I'm making, and you know, you can't really play with it too much, honestly. At that point.
As far as like, I guess what we can do is like, well, since your video goes up first, let's start with you. Like, what day do you start your process on? Generally,
it varies. I try to, you know, I'll start like. If I'm bogged down from like the work week, if I really like, you know, if I'm really like crunched for like a topic or like time restraint, it'll be like Monday afternoon at that point, and I'll just log in from there, and you know, whatever research has to be done, whatever I have to, you know, Starbucks is a cheat sheet because obviously I know everything there is to know. I'm like, okay, whatever. But if it's not that, you know, I got to spend more time, and then, you know, I'll be scripting that night, or I'll even record it that night. And I spend Tuesday morning, like literally all day. I'm locked in until that uploads up into like editing and finishing that and making sure it's out of the door, so to speak, or as it were, by 4:00. So yeah, I like for me, I definitely want to spend more time on the edits, just getting them looking phenomenal, and I think that'll come just with more time being able to take care of things like that.
I think it just needs to come as more of a thing of like, in a sense, throwing in the towel earlier, where it's like, I know a lot of times you'll want to be like, hey, I want to think of like the premise of this video or whatever. Yeah. But like, if you can't think of something by, you know, like 4 days out from your video, just text me. Yeah. But yeah, for me, usually my process is I usually start thinking about what my video is going to be about around now. Cause like my week is like cyclical, where it's like this is the end of my week and also the beginning of my next one with the podcast. After I play in the podcast, that's when I start to think, okay, what am I going to talk about next? So I'll look into like search results and like volume for like what people are looking for and stuff like that, and just, you know, news stories that I saw throughout the week and like stuff that I want to talk about. Then I'll start thinking like, okay, what is a title for this? Or a potential title. Then once I do that, I'm like brainstorming the thumbnail, and I'm like, hey, okay, does this play well with the title? You know, is that working that way? And that's usually like, that process is usually, like I said, between we're recording this on Friday. So you that usually starts that like preliminary like pre-video, like putting anything down on my note app or whatever, right? That's usually a 2-day process. I usually try to spend around that long on that. So Sunday morning, I try to get at least like, I try to break it down into words, because I know like the word length I typically aim for is like I don't know, like 1,800 to 1,900 words in the script. Unless I don't have more to say. You know, usually I have too much to say and I cut it out. But I try to like write at least 1,000 words on Sunday. And then I'll go through on Monday and I'll like edit some stuff out and add some different stuff and try to like close out the rest of that script on Monday, record it. And then Tuesday through Wednesday is editing all the off-camera stuff. Then Thursday morning, I wake up and I shoot on all the on-camera stuff, and I edit all that stuff together. I make finishing touches on the off-camera stuff, and then I compile it all together, and then I upload the video.
Yeah. And we used to have an editor for that. Boom, 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 shots fired. No,
no comment.
No, but yeah. That's pretty much the process, and that's pretty much the questions for this week's Q&A. Thank you guys for always contributing to not only just these videos, watching the content that we put out. Thank you guys so much for understanding this week. It's been crazy. Here's hoping going forward, things continue as they were, and we appreciate it, guys. Thank you guys so much for always being here, and it means a lot. 15K and onward. Thanks.
Oh yeah, that was another thing that happened. We hit 15K.
Yeah. So thank you guys.
That was cool. I'm probably like, I try not to talk about that, not try not to talk about milestones, but like try not to be like, oh, we're at 16K, we're at 17K. Like, we're probably not going to talk about that.
Well,
it's probably not going to be something that we mention.
Yeah,
I try.
I think the little bleeps here, like I think the podcast is perfect for that. Like type of like, oh, we made 16. Just like little side, but like true. As far as like in a video, like that's like.
Yeah, like I usually try to aim for like the more tangible milestones of like, we're at 10K. Like 10K was a milestone. 50, I'd say 1,000 was a milestone. 50,000 is the next like big milestone. 100,000. 250,000, 500,000, a million. Like that's my roadmap for like the stuff that I'm trying to make a big deal out of. Like, man, this was a journey.
Right.
There's some like extenuating circumstances, like when we got to 2K, when we got to 3K from 2K, that was a celebration, because we got hard stopped at 2K when we hit there, because we kind of hit 2K really sooner than we were ready to, in a way, before we really had our channel figured out and what we would do with it and like what the roadmap was, and like we didn't really have any consistency or anything like that. But now it's like, it's more of a thing, like we have everything figured out. If we're not growing, it's our fault. Completely. Like, just we're not doing what we know we need to do.
Yeah, that everything's it's a lot smoother now, and it's not everything's just moving in a nice pace, honestly. It could be moving faster, but it'll.
Yeah, that said, everybody, make sure you each all 15,000 of you make at least 2,000 friends each by next week and report back. Right. Okay, thank you.
But yeah, so keep it going. So yeah, you'll hear in the podcast about, okay, we hit 17,000 and blah blah. Well, I mean, obviously not that frequently, but I see us coasting at this point. We'll past the thousands, but I'm like, okay, we're at 22K, something like that. Little small announcements. So you'll hear those.
And you'll see me. I'll just completely ignore them until I see fit to be like, this is a milestone I'll weigh in on. So Logan will be like, hey guys, we hit 16K, and it's silence.
Yeah, right. Like, so anyway, my video for the week.
Yeah. But like 25K, and it's like, oh yeah, it's dope. Like,
oh shoot.
But But yeah, that's the end of the podcast. You got to say the thing.
AJ, final thoughts.
If you teach a man to fish, IGN will give you a 7.8 and say too much water.
And as always, play Yokai Watch. Better than Pokemon. All right.
What?
Yeah, I know. That's when I answer something ridiculous. People are like, "What? That's not that. He's crazy. This man, he's nuts."
Is he on shrooms? All right, goodbye.
Bye.